banks and financial institutions have been facing challenges and looking at ways and means to see how we could positively identify the customers as well as the users. That includes people internally as well as partners and customers. We're going to talk about the challenges and use cases with digital identity access tabs and compromised 2FA experiences, as well as some of the digital ID and solution and key benefits. We'll also discuss our second main point, which is the challenges and risks faced by everyday cardholders in a virtual marketplace when it comes to card not present payments with regards to online internet purchases, in-app purchases, and as well as gift cards, virtual cards, and P2P payments. And finally, we'll talk about our differentiators and offering, which is Cyberbeat's AWS cloud offering. And then you may please send your questions. It'll be recorded by us, and then we'll be able to answer the question at the end of this the webinar. Cyberbeat was launched in 2019 with a clear understanding that there are a whole lot of ways of improving payments processing. The key problems are how do we set up things quickly and swiftly with faster time to market. But the main thing is that how do we address some of the inherent problems when it comes to security and digital identity, as well as customer experience, which is cardholder experience. We are headquartered in Singapore, and we are supporting our services across regions globally. And we do have a global strategic partnership with multiple organizations. If we look at traditional authentication methods today, with password, we have password fatigue, which is as a result of basically people trying to change passwords because of that being compromised, that can be cracked easily. So there's many ways of doing it, but it all creates a lot of stress, as well as remembering password is also itself is a problem. And so people try to circumvent that by adding 1 or 2 digits here and there, but then those are easily compromised by cyber criminals through various forms of vulnerabilities that is available within the systems. At the end of the day, if you look at password, they are all stored in a file manager, and which can be accessed through brute force by cyber criminals. Well, then now we are talking also about as part of verifying is biometric capabilities with facial recognition, but then the camera is viewing continuously while you're doing facial recognition. Voice recognition, it's the same case with eavesdropping, fingerprint, misuse of data. In the end, all of these capabilities, what I call static verification, because the information that is available is static and it is kept somewhere, which can be easily accessed. And there is a huge dependency on third party for authentications. So in order to solve these issues and make it easier for the users, you have password plus verification. And verification is some sort of hardware, maybe fob keys or tokens or fingerprint, as I said, and even verification through mobile phone or remote devices. And then you get the access. But then again, as I said, these are the things that the user has to carry and do things to make it happen. What we are looking now is positively identifying and authenticating to log into websites and wallets and apps using digital ID or dynamic password. Essentially, recently, most of the time, recently it's called passwordless. It is secure and easy for the user to use. Generate the dynamic password anytime, anywhere on smartphone or tablets. It is quick and responsive with offline dynamic password generation. And this is the key here. When you're generating your password, it should be offline, because when you're connected online and you're generating it, which means you are extracting information from somewhere, and that itself creates a whole lot of opportunities for vulnerabilities. The sign-in app, which is downloaded and then activated with seed data, there should be no personal identifiable information data that should be present there. And basically, as part of that capability on the app, it should be a secure and the most secure algorithm to generate the digital ID, which is alphanumeric. In most cases, about 16 characters long. As I said, they are dynamic password. You can decide, and it should be either can be scanned as a dynamic QR code, or entered, or even NFC for that matter. But the important part is that the secure algorithm should be tested and proven to say that this is really secure, and that the next password that is generated can also be generated within any interval, say within half a second or 30, 40 seconds, but then it lasts for the time, the preset time that you have allocated to it. And this is what is digital ID using dynamic password, and it's for omni-channels. So if you go to internet banking, you've gone through your username and your password, you don't have to enter the password. You generate this ID, which is the dynamic password, and that positively identifies you as well as authenticates you. So now I'm going to show you a demo using our Cyberbeat VkenCredence, which is a suite of products, which is called VkenSign-in. And basically, it is showing that how we'll be able to activate a user, which will have the ability to then log in into the a portal. I hope you're able to see my two split screens. So if I enter VkenSign-in here, now I'm going to onboard a customer or a user, and then we can give access to the portal. So I'm entering the name, and then it is the email is jwong, gmail.com, and the phone number. Phone number is required. Company name is Digital Bank. Just say customer. So next, I have to sign in. So so I've generated a number which I'm going to just sign in to show you that that this portal also requires me to sign in because my sign in. But I'll show you how the numbers will be generated. So just give me a second. Yes, so I have signed in here, and then I'm going to have to restart. So this is the portal. This is the customer here, and I'm going to enter into this portal, and I'll try this. So this is and basically I'm going to onboard this customer. Here is the activation code, as you can see, and this is the activation basically in terms of what we have to which is field 1 and field 2. These two information is basically is given as a one of the what do you call it, multi-factor authentication, so that we would send the activation code to the customer, which is Jane Wong, and also the field 1 and field 2. So activation code can be sent by email. Field 1, field 2 can also be sent by email or can be sent by SMS. It depends on how you choose to inform the customer. So now I'm going to try. And then if you look at on my right-hand side of the screen, I'm invoking the sign-in here, and I'm going to add in a new user. And it says that I can scan the code. So I'll try to scan this code here. And it's loading. That's the activation code, as you can see here, is now been scanned on my phone. And I'll enter the field 1, field 2, which is Jane. And field 2 is Wong. And I'll set a new password. Okay, so field 1, field 2, I've entered wrongly. Hang on. I have problems with my camera, looks like. Okay, so basically now we will be able to submit the code, but the problem is that there is some issues on the field 1. Anyway, we go to the presentation now. We'll come back to that. So with Vken Sign-in, basically, if you look at it, it is a mutual trust that you can build between the customer and banking and phone banking officer. So when you call the phone banking officer for anything, you could generate your Vken Sign-in ID on the app, and then it will be verified by the phone banking officer. And the same way, the phone banking officer can also verify whether the customer is correct or not. So that way you can have a mutual trust, and then this way you'll be able to verify your customer, and the customer can verify whether they're talking to the right bank, so that there is no misuse of information or fraud being committed. And same way is that when bank agent is calling, or someone is calling a customer, and the customer wants to know, is it really the bank or not? And that way you can verify the bank by activating Vken Sign-in. And then in real time, you can verify whether it's a bank agent, because all the credentials from the bank agent will be given. And same applies for phishing website on internet. When those websites basically can put up the dynamic QR code of the Vken sign-in, and that way you'll be able to see whether this is correct or not. So same way, we come to the multi-factor authentication, where the OTP needs to be generated. But however, sending by SMS has caused a lot of basically fraud and compromised accounts as a result of SMS, and we all know that. But however, in order to deliver the OTP without SMS is also, or securely, is also is a challenging task. So here is what we are saying is that having the capability to generate the OTP on your mobile phone, which is offline mode, and being able to actually enter into for transactions. This way, we are able to basically not able to receive this OTP by SMS, but being able to generate this OTP using the Vken OTP app. So here we are saying is that generate OTP anytime, anywhere. You have omni-channel use, which is internet banking, mobile banking. There is no need for a physical device. It's a secure algorithm-based OTP generation, and there is no visible or encrypted PII data stored on the device. Works only once and cannot be cloned, and configurable time-based expiry as well, and eliminates any in-app OTP generation issues. And that's because the fact is that when you do in-app OTP generation, you are relying on your app, talking to your app server, and then the app server is generating that OTP, where the app is then displaying it to the customer, and the customer entering the same thing. And that's where the verification and what we call it encoding and decoding is happening in the same place. And that shouldn't happen, because in order to avoid security breach and vulnerabilities, if encoding is happening offline and encoding and decoding is happening on a server online, then it's a better way of preventing penetrations and having a forensic capability. So we would do this. If you look at the in terms of fraudulent pages, sorry, the page, some of these news media and social media articles that have come across, where links are available for people to scan and then go through and actually and then use SMS OTP to actually bypass all of these checks. But with VkenCredence, we are able to actually stop that from the frauds to happen, because we are not generating the OTP and then sending by SMS. And here is the same what we're talking about that has happened in Singapore with the one-time password being compromised. But with VkenCredence, if you're generating, it won't happen that way. So I will show you this OTP generation. Just 1 second. So we can have another user set up for yeah. So on the screen, you can see here's the Vken 2FA, and we're going to enter a new 2FA. So we'll scan, we're scanning. And same thing, we do the activation. So this is a successfully activated account, as you can see. And now I'm going to generate OTP here. And this is the OTP we have generated. But I could log in. So now I'm going to show that I have a portal that I'm logging in with my email. And perform some transfers. This is a basic to show that from this account and to another person. Yeah, 65. Right, and now I will generate the OTP. And scanner. Somebody, two videos cannot work, sorry. So as you can see from the screen, there is a timer there which says that I must enter within 10 seconds, otherwise it will not be accepted. Obviously, I will not be able to do this. So 5, 7, 8, 2, 7. 5, 7, 8, 7. Okay. And then next. It failed because of bad number. And I've also expired, as you can see. So that's what we are saying about. So we'll generate another one. So we can enter properly here. 537 302. The timer is ticking, and that is configurable. So this is the correct, and you have successfully transferred. So that's what we were saying about 2FA, which is offline generated, and it is encoded on your mobile phone, but it is not at all. It has got no details of the user at all, and it can be done offline as well. So all of these we have been able to do us basically solve these issues with OTP with the Vken 2FA. So some of the it's easy for stakeholders. Basically, what you have to do is register for VkenCredence service to our AWS cloud. The financial institutions provides the details, and then we provide the APIs and SDK for the apps, which is available also on Apple Store, and then we are able to just go from there. So it is just an API interface between our cloud and the financial institution. In terms of the activation, how the customer will handle, they will download the app, they will activate the app, and what it means is that the financial institution or the bank provides customer number, phone number, customer ID, and email to VkenCredence. We generate the activation code, and then we send the activation code to the customer, and then financial institution verifies the ID and approves activation and shares field 1 and field 2. So that way, financial institution or bank knows exactly that it is the correct customer who's activating it. And then customer activates by entering the activation code like ID, field 1 and field 2. Then you generate the VkenCredence passcode, whether for sign-in or for Vken 2FA, and use those passcodes for authentication. And basically, if you look at in a different way of the flow, so it's a multi-factor authentication where the customer is using its own device with its own device security and authenticates VkenPay app with a preset PIN, and then generates VkenCredence 2FA password, and then that can be used in any of the channels, either by QR code or by NFC or by manually entering the number. And then it is acquired by financial institutions and routed for 2FA verification, and then we will verify that. And as I said, if it is same passcode is hacked in transit, the authentication on reuse will be declined. you notice that we have 9 digits as passcode, and the algorithm is patented, and it is basically MIT have said, which is in the US, it will take another 99 years for anyone to repeat the same number which has been generated. It is a complex set of algorithms which is generating this number offline and is with the seed data without any PIA data on the phone itself. Now I'm going to talk about enhancing the e-commerce experience in the faceless marketplace. So far, we've been talking about how to authenticate ourselves in the faceless marketplace securely, so that financial institutions and institutions are able to use that capability for their staff as well as for customers. And in this case, we are using the same capability to talk about that online. If you look at online customers today, cardholders hesitate to proceed with in-app purchase of online games, tokens, wellness services, social services, all of these types of what I call where it's not like where the customer is not known to the merchant, where the customer has gone around on the internet and wants to shop, and then they have hesitation because they don't know how the card will be used and kept. The other part is that some of the apps, and those are subscription-based apps, wants the cardholders to enter the expiry date. Most cardholders know that with the expiry date, the subscription basically will last there till end of the expiry date, or it will be automatically renewed. So even if you are doing trial, you cannot do it for more than, if you're doing for 30 days trial, but your card is there for more than 30 days. The preferred, while it is the preferred mode, most customers still hesitate to enter card details to proceed with customers. What I mean is that everybody wants in this faceless marketplace and in this pandemic, and the millennials do not really want to go and use internet for all their purchasing and their activities. But when it comes to card, that's where they hesitate. Cardholders are preferred to verify this merchant before paying. And this is nothing to do with actually acquiring or payment, but it is more about how do you verify the merchant that this merchant is really the merchant that they want to give the card number to. And one-time virtual cards also. So the answer, some of the financial institutions that come up with a one-time dynamic or one-time virtual card. But the most problem with virtual card is that unlike your physical card, which you take out from your wallet and present to the merchant, you don't even think about whether your card is connected or not. But with virtual card, you always needs to be connected because you are generating it from your device, a virtual card. Issues are having difficulties with implementation to provide scheme-based tokenization. This becomes a major issue because of the fact that tokenization is there provided by a scheme, which is secure, which is doing the right thing in making sure that cardholders' details are not compromised. But the issue is that it takes a whole lot of experience, cost-wise and time-wise, to come up to that level of tokenization. And merchants find it costly to tokenize card on file as well. Now, if you look at ideal online experience or card not present experience, it should be easy to generate secure dynamic virtual card number and present as a QR code, NFC, or manual entry. The dynamic virtual card number is it is the correct way because it is dynamic. That means that it is changing all the time. You are not giving your card number. Secondly, you can set it up as it's only valid for say a minute or 2 minutes. And after that, that card number is no longer available to anybody. And it should not be available to the customer at any point in time to be reused again. Card number generated anytime, anywhere during payment, as well as can be offline as well. Generating it offline is even more secure because then no hackers or vulnerabilities can be present to use brute force to get that number. Omnichannel generation and use, no trace of original card number or PII data or cardholder details that is used for dynamic virtual card number generation on the device or app. So it's completely anonymous. And and this provides that additional security. Seamless payment for single use and subscriptions. With subscriptions, the card number you're generating, which is the dynamic virtual card number, it should be only for that merchant where the subscription is being done. So that if it's used, if that merchant has been hacked and that card number is going to be used elsewhere, basically it'll be rejected during authorization process. And feeling safe to share the number, because it is dynamic, it is there. It's not your original card number, and it gives you privacy and security as well. Fraudsters, clones, and scams of dynamic numbers that are no longer used will be rejected. Basically, when people sell card numbers to the dark net, the mafia will be really not pleased, because these numbers are no longer valid. It was only used for once. And you're able to should be able to verify the e-commerce merchant authenticity before you actually do the transactions. And it's applicable for both corporate and retail customers, where a lot of corporate employees are doing purchasing now. SMEs are purchasing online, and that would be that'll be the way to go for them to have greater confidence for their employees to go and do this purchasing. So now, if you look at VkenPay, which is the Cyberbeat product, where we are generating the dynamic virtual card token. It is done offline, on the fly, when you're about to buy online, or do in-app purchase, or if you want to do P2P payments, or even gift cards for that matter. It is either for single use or for subscription payment. And VkenPay supports issuers to offer dynamic virtual card token with speed to market. There is all APIs, fully API enabled, and SDK interface, easy to use for contactless, which means QR code or NFC, and faceless authentication of the card, not present transactions. The solution, once again, is based on series of patented algorithms to create dynamic virtual card token, which is done offline and is configurable with expiry timeframes. SDKs, we will provide that, and as well as we have the own app for the issuers, merchants, and acquirers. Omnichannel enabled, can be used for internet, in-app based, phone-based, in-person authentication transactions, and as well as person-to-person remittance. Sending, if you want to send, if a cardholder wants to send a virtual card to someone to go online and purchase, they can create the card and give the number, either as an email and whatnot, or even over the phone, and they can be able to use it. Flexible to be used for authentication along various channels where customer card can be uniquely identified, over physical places, over the virtual world of internet and mobile. So I will show that how we can generate this card number, as well. So we have VkenPay app here, and we have a card here which I've created, and basically either for single use, I'm able to create a card, and here is a card which is not the original card number, but it is a card representing the BIN, which is the MasterCard BIN, with its security code CVV and what is valid through as well. And in here is the expiry time, that within 8 seconds expire and you'll not be able to use this card. So you can set these times, and then you can also do the QR code payment of paying that. So it's a dynamic QR code. Once again, this is the same verifications happening. And if you're doing subscription based, and here's the interesting thing is that you have your subscription based card, but there is a validity that I can go and change, and then I can select the validity. Say I want it to be expired till, I want this card to remain, say, till August 31st, August 20, and submit. So this card will be only valid from August, but the actual expiry date of the card is still same. But the validity of the card, when it comes to from the merchant point of view, is only the validity that I have given, and it's only valid for that particular merchant. So just to give you a transaction flow, how this works is this: the cardholder, of course, will unlock this phone, and then cardholder authenticates into mobile banking or wallet or whatever it needs to do. If we are going to use the bank app, bank's app using our SDK, and then it enters VkenPay, and then preset PIN to open up, like I did in the demo, and then we generate the multi-use dynamic card basically, and then we are able to either register for payment, for subscription, or single payment, and then the dynamic card is routed to the acquirer. Acquirer goes to the schemes, the network, and then to the issuer. An issuer, of course, if it is Cyberbeat is processing the card on behalf of the issuer, then we will respond back with the original card number. So here what we are doing is we are giving the original card number. In our process, on the host of VkenPay, all we're doing is decoding. It is only a one-way process. There is no unsolicited information sent from our host to anybody. And the whole application is PCI-PA DSS compliant, and there is no information about the cardholder on our host because we are using algorithms to decode what is the cardholder. We will take the card information initially, and then using our algorithm, we will only store the seed value or the algorithmic value of what the card should be, and that's the reason why it's PA DSS, because we are not holding any information about the cardholder in our host. However, the cardholder information is on the CMS of the issuer or CMS of our processing side. The service is offered on SaaS model with minimal integration cost, allowing scaling of dynamic token to issuers, merchants, and acquirers. The intended benefits for the issuers, basically, if you look at it, is complete API based. We got which means basically the interfaces are minimal cost, and we provide seamless onboarding using VkenPay service. In terms of processing transactions, we are processing all the way to our processing capability of the issuing point of view and acquiring point of view as well, or we work with your acquirer or your issuer as well, or the issuer. And the benefit here is the increased authorization rates of your cardholders. The cardholders wants to go and do the purchasing on online or do P2P transfers, remittance. All of those are possible with what we are providing here in terms of benefits. Enabling true contactless payment mechanism for the cardholder, whether it's dynamic QR code. So it's a true dynamic QR code where these numbers are valid for a specified time. And as I said, the next number is MIT, which is done the testing of it, to say the next one will be 99 years almost. And so there's no additional technology cost to merchant to accept VkenPay. And that's the whole point. They don't need to tokenize your cardholder because the cardholder is coming as tokenized itself. So just to summarize about Cyberbeat's offering and our differentiators that we are offering, just taking the time. So it is an end-to-end complete payments processing. It's a solution, it's a service, AWS cloud hosted. We are also open how you want to do it. We could also be on your cloud or your private cloud. That's all possible. And cost advantage in terms of rapid setup and usage, API open, flexible, modular, scalable, future-proof architecture because of the solutions we've put in, and we're able to add as many CMS or switches as we want on our platform. It's a PCI-PA DSS compliant, and we also provide merchant verification. This is something not many, it's not done many places, but we are able to do that based on the technology we have, and it's a frictionless payment. In terms of our business solution offering, the target clients vertical goes from financial institutions like yourselves, issuers, acquirers, banks, fintechs, as well as to other industries. where the banks and the financial institutions operate with. So we could cooperate and provide the similar to your clients as well in those verticals. For the issuer services, contactless payments, acquirer services, e-commerce services, as well as payment networks interfaces, and then having the real-time fraud prevention. And then with VkenCredence and VkenPay, we are able to provide complete business solutions for digital payment processing, corporate cards, keyless entry. Keyless entry, as I said, with VkenSign-in, you could use that within your own data center, within your own secure environment. Basically, everybody who wants to enter a secure environment or secure systems, people working from home, they are able to basically generate the VkenSign-in passcode and then verify itself. Loyalty monetizations and single ID management as well, and password-less login, enhanced identity verification is a complete solution from Cyberbeat in terms of payments as well as authentication and multi-factor authentication. So I hope I have, I would like to draw your attention back to the agenda, which was winning the customer's trust in the faceless marketplace in the digital world. And I hope I have given you enough points based on the three key areas that I've discussed, which is the digital identification and dynamic passwordless capability, and then multi-factor authentication, being able to encode and then use that without the delivery of that is within that the devices, and then being able to verify it without sending as an SMS and things like that, or in-app. And last but not least, but the total solution is being offered on Cyberbeat platform. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your patience. There were some glitches, but I guess the message is there. We are happy to take all the questions that you've asked, and this will be open soon. And I'm contactable with my details as below, and also you can search me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rajan, for the wonderful presentation. In terms of the questions, before I go into the questions, there was one of the attendees who had messaged as Rajan was entering the Vken ID into the portal, right, indicating that the ID was visible on screen and probably people could copy it. Just wanted to reiterate, thank you so much for your good note. The Vken ID is highly secure and cannot be replicated. It just only works one, as Rajan indicated. So thank you for your message. In terms of another question, we've got a question from Sophia Chun. How is Vken app very different from other authentication apps, which also generates numbers?
Sorry, please repeat the question.
How is this Vken ID, Vken sign-in, and Vken 2FA app very different from other authenticator apps which is available in the market? They also generate numbers. This Vken ID, Vken 2FA app also generate numbers. What's really special about the Vken sign-in and Vken 2FA generation logic?
Right, thank you. This is an excellent question. Actually, this is the key differentiator between what other apps are doing and what the VkenCredence and VkenPay. If you look at what we're talking about, VkenPay and VkenCredence, first of all, when we generate, we are activating the app first. You download the app and you activate with the details that has been given to us, which is basically your name, your email, and your other IDs, and then we create a activation code. You generate that, you basically take that activation code and the field 1, field 2, and you generate that. There is no information, there is no PII data, there is no information about you on your app. Whereas other apps, they carry information. They have information which is encrypted and stored within the mobile phone, smartphones. The second part is that we are different because we don't need to be connected to internet or to the network to generate these passcodes. It is just like the way you see it is your hardware tokens that you had before, which was not connected. Third point is that there is no information that we are carrying into PIA data into our VkenCredence host, where we will have to retrieve. It is algorithm based. We are decoding it. So we are encoding on the mobile smartphone, and then we are decoding on the server itself. And all of these, and that's why we are saying it is truly a dynamic QR code, because we are able to provide as a dynamic QR code, or as a manual entry passcode, or as an NFC. So that is our key differentiator between us and most of our other apps that I've seen. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, yes, Rajan, thank you. In terms of additional another question, like how easy is it for a financial institution that has already issued cards to adopt this VkenPay?
Another great question. So basically, that's the whole idea, is that this must be existing cardholders. So the issuer will basically, the existing cardholders will choose to go on VkenPay, and the issuer provides us with the card name, card details, card number, and card details. Or if the issuer doesn't want to give us the actual card number, they can give us the customer number or customer ID. What we'll do is we will then use that to create the seed data and activation code and all that. So all the same process will happen on our server. We are not storing the card number, but we are using that to recalculate, decode the card. So yes, it is very easy done, and it's a choice whether you want to share the card holder details or card number or customer number or customer ID. The interface is required during authorization process. So when the pay card is coming to the issuer for authorization, or the issuer receives it, the CMS or the switch needs to interface via API to VkenPay host and receives the original card number or customer ID number that the issuer has decided to use for this particular card holder.
Perfect. Thanks, Rajan. One last question that has come from an anonymous attendee is using facial recognition for both identification as well as multi-factor authentication, or maybe any other biometrics. What is the challenges that is seen?
Right. Using basically, you have to understand facial recognition. It means that you are storing the information about facial data somewhere, whether it's encrypted or whatnot. So that is open for vulnerabilities. And when you're doing this, when you are actually doing facial recognition, you are opening up the camera, which can be compromised as well. Other challenges with that as well, which have been proven as well. But main thing is that, as I said, this is it is not like dynamic password where you are generating through an algorithm. Facial recognition means that you already know about, you have done the facial pattern recognition, and then you are using the data, and you're retrieving the data from somewhere. To check that. Okay, so Mick.
Yep, I think we're gonna run right on time.
Mm-hmm.
So, a few words for your conclusion now.
Yes. Okay. Great. So thank you very much once again. In conclusion, I would like to say that we know that there are risks and challenges in terms of what we can do in this faceless marketplace. But however, things are evolving, technologies are evolving, and as a result of that, what we are seeing, Cyberbeat is seeing, is that having the capability to verify and identify and authenticate without compromising customer data and user data, and being able to secure that so that the penetration and vulnerabilities are not there. We will be able to provide a much more better experience for the users and customers to use payments capability for cards, as well as for internet banking, mobile banking, access to all of that. And like I said, in the recent news media in Singapore, as in elsewhere else in the world, is that there is a lot of innocent users and customers are basically misled, and they actually compromise their information, and that way they have a huge loss. So, but what we are offering through VkenCredence, we are confident that this will not be the case, because we are giving the opportunity for the customer to positively identify whether the request is coming from the bank or not. That's one. Second point is the second factor authentication with OTP. It is not generated and verified by the same server or by the same application. The encoding is done on the device without any user data, and if it is tampered with, it will be destroyed or destructed. And then when it comes to the verification of that or decoding, it is done separately, but it's done through algorithm which is patented, and we are very confident that this is something that we are able to provide quite easily. And same thing with VkenPay. I think VkenPay offers a fantastic opportunity for cardholders to confidently do shopping online, and as well as for issuers and for financial institutions and for corporates to provide other forms of capabilities like virtual cards, dynamic virtual cards, gift cards, and remittance and person-to-person payment. So I hope we have provided the insight into winning customers' trust in the faceless marketplace. Thank you.
But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today